to Shanghai. First things first, though, spawning in the top left position of the map as the blue Protoss player representing Team Dignitas, ladies and gentlemen, with his first pylon on the low ground, so we'll be seeing a quick expansion out of him. It is BlinG. And he's going to be facing up against an incredibly strong Zerg player, ladies and gentlemen. I fear this guy a little bit at tournaments. This guy has arms the size of tree trunks. One of the coolest dudes in esports, a very, very solid European Zerg. We have VP BenQ's sLivko.
As you said, BlinG taking down sort of phenomenal upset there, in my opinion. Sort of has been playing so well since he's trained in Korea, doing very well in WCS. BlinG taking him down just shows you how good his PvZ is. And then, like you said, Strelok, you know, in Wings of Liberty, he did not have the best showing. You know, in Brood War,
sure,
he was one of Ukraine's best players by far. In Brood War, he was so good as a foreigner. But in Wings of Liberty, hasn't had a set. But WCS, as soon as this year started, Strelok's been playing phenomenal. And the fact that sLivko could have beaten him and just move on with it, it had to have been a 2-0, I assume, because it was over so quick. sLivko, I mean, he has to be playing so well right now.
Yeah, he's it takes something really to beat Strelok, especially at this moment in time. We actually saw, by the way, guys, BlinG deny the hatchery just a little bit from sLivko. He managed to sneak it in, and as soon as he got the hatchery down, notice that sLivko immediately pulled back his Overlord as well. Very important, because that hatchery, while building, doesn't have the vision to see that potential cannon rush, and he wants to make sure that no cannons are going to be going up in the natural. So pulling back that Overlord from sLivko, very, very minor detail there, but also very important, because you never know when you're going to randomly lose a game to something like that.
Yeah, it's a very good point. You know, hatch first, in my opinion, can be done in any matchup. We're not going to be seeing that today, of course. The pool already finished, but in this matchup specifically, with Gateway expands being so common now, it's almost, you know, 3 out of 4 games are Gateway expands now compared to Force Rise expand. Depending on who you're going up against, you can squeeze that in. But we're seeing more of a normal style here from sLivko, going for the really fast third hatchery here, which will delay one of his queens, delay his gas, of course. But right now we're just seeing a standard game, nothing too out of the ordinary for the most part.
Yeah, he spotted, of course, early on that Nexus went down very, very quickly indeed. Saw that the wall-off was occurring and that the Forge was there, and that led sLivko to go, well, I'm going to try and get my third hatchery down as quickly as possible here. And that's exactly what he's done now, just hitting the 5-minute mark. His third hatch already halfway complete. So, like you said, Zoya, a little bit of the days of old, if you like. Forge fast expands against quick 3 hatches. But we're going to see the game develop quite quickly from here. It's all going to come down to gas timings from both players and what kind of tech they want to go with moving into the mid-game. So we'll be keeping an eye on that in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, and we do see that Stargate's going to be thrown out immediately by BlinG.
All right.
Feeling pretty confident with Stargate play. I am really, really hoping he goes Phoenixes. I love Phoenix play in this matchup. Phoenix are kind of like the Reapers of any matchup, as we talked about how you do your initial harassment, and then from there it's just how long you can keep them alive and keep them valuable. If you can keep your Phoenix alive throughout the entirety of a game, they become so cost efficient. We'll have to see what it is that BlinG, he's already sent his rally over to this Overlord, so I'm thinking it's going to be Phoenix, could be a Void Ray, but more than likely going to be Phoenix.
Alright, we'll keep an eye on what's about to pop out, and it is actually going to be a Void Ray. So cast a curse, striking just a little bit there, but you never really know what's going to come out of a Stargate, to be honest, until we actually see the units start flinging themselves out of there. And yep, rallying it over to the Overlord there does suggest he wants to take them out as quickly as possible. sLivko, in the meantime, he's just trying to power up as many drones as he can. He's going up to 53 right now, massive round. And this Overlord that's probably going to go down to the Void Ray here will be his first inkling of what BlinG wants to do in the mid-game.
Third base being taken by BlinG. With the early Void Ray, this shows a turtley, you know, kind of a mass Colossus Void Ray style. Probably go up in the Tempest as well, playing very, very defensive this game. And now the ball is in sLivko's court. He has seen the third base. He's seen the Stargate now. He knows what BlinG's game plan is. Is he going to take his 4th and 5th base right now, or is he going to go for a bust, try an all-in, deny the third base?
Well, he's going for 12 Zerglings that just popped out, and the Roach Warren is about to complete as well for sLivko. And he started those Zerglings up as soon as that Overlord spotted the third Nexus getting put down from BlinG. So I think he's going to be going for some aggression here. Indeed, he is. Zergling speed is going to be timed out with 11 Roaches coming out on the field as well. So sLivko looking like he wants to try and go ahead and deny this third base and then go back and focus once again on his economy. BlinG, in the meantime, is starting up 2 additional Stargates, and he's going up to Protoss Air Weapons level 1. So more Void Rays are going to be in this composition very shortly indeed here. sLivko really wants to try and knock back this third base as quickly as he can, because those Void Rays are going to do a massive number later on in the game.
This is the kind of style that every Zerg player on the planet hates. It's the the turtley, I'm gonna sit here and just make a bunch of Void Rays, eventually get Tempest out, and then what can you really do? But he's gonna go with these links here. He's gonna try an attack move onto Nexus, gonna go for these sentries as well. Good force fields go down, trapping 2 of them, but some links were actually in that little pocket as well. All of the sentries do go down. Nice little counterattack here by sLivko, picking off a lot of probes, forcing a lot of weapons. More Roaches coming forward as well. There are Void Rays here with the prismatic alignment. They do extra damage to the armored Roaches, but will it be enough to save this third base? I don't think so.
No. The Zerglings are just too large in number here, unfortunately, and this is a very, very important point of the game, because sLivko has to kill off as much as he physically can here, and BlinG knows this, because later on in the game, once those Void Rays start coming out in huge numbers, are those links going to get in that one cell? We have, okay, good force field as well from him, but the pylon on the right-hand side is going down as well. sLivko needs to do his damage now, and he knows it, because later on in the game, once more and more of those Void Rays come out, it's going to be so difficult for him to break through in this way. The cybernetic score getting dangerously low as well, and if that cybernetic score goes down, that could be big news, because those links might be able to get in, but he just about has enough to force sLivko to retreat. That was very close to a lot more damage being done there.
Now take a look at the units lost tab. It does show that sLivko has lost a lot more, but he is denied a lot from BlinG. He denied the third base,
yes.
He killed off gateways, he forced a lot of units, a lot of gas to be spent on things that he didn't want to. So right now he's taking his 4th base, he's getting his Magger Hatch back home. He begun drone production halfway through that. 69 drones out on the field. He killed 7 probes from BlinG. sLivko's reactions, sLivko's perfect timing to switch to drones has all been perfect here, doing this so well.
This is very, very well played from sLivko so far, I have to say. I would have liked to see him stay in there to snipe off the cybernetics core maybe a little bit earlier, but that's really just icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned at this point. He went in at the third base at the correct timing when he saw the Void Rays were coming in, managed to pick that off straight away. Sadly, his 4th base now is not going to survive. There's no way he can defend that, but he is getting a lot of Hydralisks out on the field. Muscular Augments are also about halfway done now as well, so he will be able to try and make a bit of a stand here, and together with Queens, I think he might just be able to defend this off.
Third base is going to be held right now for sLivko, or for BlinG. He's warping plenty of Zelds there to defend that. There goes that Time Warp. Going to catch a few of these Hydras here. Good control so far from BlinG, marking very well. Not going to lose any of these Void Rays, and back on now. They're actually running into a few Hydras here. Almost loses Mothership Core. Good reaction from BlinG, pulling that back just in time. He's finally going to get his third base reestablished. Income tap 52 to 72. 4th base being taken on the left-hand side of the map from sLivko, just about to finish up. And like you said, was taking into those Hydras, but he needs to start working his way towards Hive. With BlinG Hydra, I don't know if he'll be able to make a bust possible here. It's going to be really tight of a hold for BlinG. The Hydras are moving out across the map. They don't have the Groove Spines just yet, but he's going to go for it, man. He's going to try and break this third base.
Yeah, the key really with this pre-Hive composition, if you will, I think, is being able to constantly do little bits of damage to your opponent, because at the end of the day, I think we all recognize that if we basically left BlinG alone and did nothing for the next 10 or 15 minutes, he'll be able to get up an army that is so ridiculously difficult to deal with, it's not even funny. So as a result, what sLivko ideally wants to do right now is constantly do little bits of damage to BlinG. Make him warp in those additional zealots, make him warp in those sentries, make him use his resources in ways that don't involve making extra units out of Stargates, because that slows him down enough for sLivko to get to that high tech, enough for him to get to that unit composition he needs. And we can actually see BlinG losing a couple of Void Rays and his Mothership Core there in that little attack as well. So sLivko just poking in here, trying to do little moves here and there to slow BlinG down so that he can get up to a much better army composition.
Now, it's important to note that the prismatic alignment has no effect against the Hydras and the Lings. Just the standard DPS that the Void Rays do work against them, but it's still very, very scary. Plenty of Void Rays here. Will the Force Fields give you good enough charges? Done. Force Fields go down, but not cutting off most of the army. Prismatic alignment goes down just to scare the Hydras away. Does not force them to fall back, but they still are just melting everything. Hydras taking so much damage right now. Zealots cleaning everything up, and it looks like BlinG gonna hold, losing about half of his Void Rays there. Take a look at that unit loss tab. Look at, oh wow, that is way in favor of BlinG right now.
That's right. That was an interesting engagement from sLivko. He made the conscious decision to say, look, I'm going to lose this army here. I just want to get as much damage done to this Sky Toss composition as possible so that later on in the game, that scary Deathfall army will be a little bit less scary to deal with. Picking off another Void Ray in the middle of the map here, it remains to be seen just how well that's going to work out for him, because he did lose an awful lot of Hydras, and they sure ain't cheap, Zoya. But behind this, he's getting the Infestation Pit now, finally. He needs to try and make sure this fourth base doesn't go down, actually. A single Hydralisk is not going to stop it, and, well, BlinG is going to get the fourth base, and sLivko needs to have that constant income to be able to afford that stream of units he'll need to fend off this late game Protoss army.
Infestation Pit finally finishing here for sLivko, can finally get that hive going, but like you said, that fourth base fall, like it really puts pressure onto sLivko right now. He's lost too much economy so many times. He's now on equal basis with a Protoss player, which is something you never want to do. Pathogen glands being researched, going to be mixing in some infestors soon. Finally going to see the Robotics Bay as well as the Temple Archives mixing in both Feedback Storm as well as the Colossus and Archons. Going to be moving towards that ultimate composition that Protoss players love to go for, and it's scary to deal with as a Zerg player. I wonder what sLivko's response is going to be.
Yeah, this is sLivko's biggest issue right now. His biggest bugbear is that he hasn't been able to constantly mine out of a fourth base. Ideally, he would have liked to do that while he was constantly streaming units in to try and attack Dignitas BlinG's army, try and whittling down that Void Ray count as well. But now, I'm just a little bit less certain for him. The number of Zealots in this army is pretty large. There are enough sentries to effectively segregate the front and rear halves of the army, and what sLivko doesn't want to do is get into a situation where the Roaches are faster than the Hydras, because you need to protect them in the back. They get force-fielded out, and then BlinG's ground army just runs away so that the Void Rays do a number on the Roaches. That would be a really frustrating place for him to be. I think sLivko needs one more really good engagement before he feels like he's truly comfortable in this game, because his fourth bases have been denied so much.
Wonder if we're going to see Tempest this game from BlinG. You know, if we start seeing Swarm Host from sLivko, that's definitely going to be one of the better responses. Finally throwing down that second robotics facility, going up to the 4 bases. BlinG has just been playing this so passively, so patiently, and really not messing up at all. And we do have an impossible engagement coming here. This is going to be close.
Yeah, I think... Oh, and never mind, here comes the... And those are some of those force fields I was talking about a little bit earlier. Good fungal growth coming out of sLivko as well. Can he get a couple more of those units trapped? He does indeed. Some sentries actually in the front line. Needs to be very careful. Nice fungal once again. And a lot of Hydras actually remaining in the back here. The Colossus finally coming into the game. Is it going to be enough? Some excellent fungal growth, and it looks like sLivko is just going to be able to push this back. Might even get a couple of Void Rays for his efforts, deciding to stay back for now. He has his 4th and 5th bases up. And coming back to a point you made a little bit earlier, Zoya, I think, in absence of seeing any Hive Tech, we don't see the Broodlords out on the field yet, we don't have Swarm Hosts out, and we certainly don't see any sign of Ultralisk right now. So for those reasons, I'm really liking BlinG's decision to delay trying to go into those Tempests early on and to just focus on getting as many Colossi out to supplement these Void Rays as possible.
And that's what he's doing. He's not really building any Void Rays right now. He's building 2 Colossus at a time. You know, not the best engagement for him. A little bit of an overcommittal there. He got nice feedbacks on all the infestors and some of the queens, but the fungals, like you said, were perfect. Such a great engagement done by sLivko. And he's back up the max, 200 supply versus 174, 5 bases to 4 right now. It's really hard for a Protoss player to defend this space, especially versus Broodlords or Swarm Hosts, and that's what we're going to be seeing soon. Corruptor's on the way. Greater Spire has been started. Once a few resources have, or a few supply has been, you know, sent away in drops or harassment, we're going to see Broodlords on the field, and I can count the number of times I've seen Broodlords in the last 3 months of casting, and it's been 0 times.
Well, it looks like you might get to see here, of course. I remember Zoya's favorite unit for Wings of Liberty definitely being the Broodlord. So we might get a little bit of an opportunity here to cast once again. We're moving out towards a fourth base now. sLivko getting pretty serious with his attack. A nice feedback on the Infested there. There is a Viper or two with this army as well. Needs to be careful not to get those units pulled in, and here we go. BlinG going in for the engagement here. Decent concave. Great abducts on those two Colossi. They're managing to get out as well. A lot of Infested Terrans coming down, but the AoE damage from BlinG looking like it's a little bit too much here. sLivko's supply plummeting. He's down to 135 supply. There's the 145 from BlinG, and he's continuing to fall here. And the Void Ray Colossus combination is just looking too strong. No high-tech units supplementing this army just yet. And sLivko getting very, very decisively pushed back.
What a great engagement from sLivko for the most part. He's, like you said, the concave was great. The abducts were amazing as well, but the composition just wasn't good enough to deal with this kind of army head on. Too many Colossus. The Void Rays and Archons add such an interesting dynamic to that fight. He's masked up Lings now. That's really the only option he had because he's so low on gas. His bank is completely gone, and Lings against Colossus and Archon, I mean, even if you get the perfect surround, it's not going to do too much. There's plenty of Stalkers here with BlinG. Upgrades, guys, are 3-1 for Mr. BlinG, 0-0 on the Lings for sLivko. And what are the upgrades on his Roaches and Hydras? He's got 2 attack, and that's it. So upgrades are in favor of our Protoss player, and he's got the better composition.
Yep. Now, in sLivko's defense here, he does have that fourth base comfortably mining, but then again, he didn't succeed in taking down the fourth base of BlinG. Ideally, he'd want to be a base ahead right now, not able to do that, and that feels like he's being backed into a corner a little bit, which is why he's sitting back and waiting for these Broodlords. He's hoping that might be able to take BlinG by surprise. We have no Tempest in this army composition at the moment, don't forget. So Broodlords are actually, they're going to be initially very effective at pushing the army back, but they move so slowly, Zoya, that by the time they move out across the other half of the map, BlinG's going to be ready for him. He doesn't have the fleet beacon down there, so it's worth noting, so he can start Tempest production immediately.
Well, here we go. Archon and Stalkers leading the charge here. There are a few Storms here. Void Ray's going to help a lot versus those Broodlords as well. The Prismatic Alignment. Stalkers linking forward. Vegetarian being dropped. Lings coming up from the backside. Going to go for a perfect surround here. Storm going on all of those Templar, or all those Infested Terrans. Lings getting blinked on top of them. More coming in here. Colossus and Archons doing what they can. Nice target fire off the Void Rays, or the Broodlords on the high ground. And BlinG falling back for the time being, but he does have that supply leak. 3 more Void Rays in production. Fleet Beacon on the way, like you're talking about, and both Tempest and Void Rays are good against Broodlords with the new Prismatic Alignment buff.
That was going to be key. If BlinG already had the Fleet Beacon down in anticipation of a Hive Tech transition, either into Swarm Hosts, for example, or into Broodlords, then I think at this point he just starts producing 3 Tempests at a time, and it gets pretty one-sided. As it stands, though, the time it takes for that Fleet Beacon to warp in gives sLivko a little bit of breathing room to try and recuperate. He knows for now he'll be able to push back BlinG's army. The issue for him, really, is that BlinG's army isn't very defeatable at this point because he can just waltz back and trade space for time until he gets those Tempests out on the field. And those upgrades, don't forget, are constantly coming in. Air Armor level 1 now also being researched, and +3 has started. And there are the triple Tempests.
Yep, Tempest on the way. Great at sniping these Broodlords. Still going to have a little standoff here as sLivko tries to. He's being as aggressive as possible to keep BlinG away from his bases, but that's not seeming to work right now. Pushing him towards that 5th base. Not going to actually go for the knife, and actually sLivko ends up canceling that. I don't know if he needs to. Nice job using Prismatic Alignment. Sights immediately one of the Broodlords. Nice transfusion from the Queen, keeping that one topped off, and it's just a waiting game now. Whenever BlinG gets the army he wants to engage against this, so I don't know if sLivko is going to be able to hold.
Yeah, I feel like earlier on in this game, sLivko had great opportunities to sort of shut down BlinG, especially when that 3rd base got sniped off, if you remember, Zoya. It felt like the follow-up attacks after that perhaps weren't the best. After that Ling Hydra engagement, which saw BlinG lose about half his Void Rays, for example, good snipe up on the space there, not what sLivko wanted. I thought sLivko was in a good position to maybe follow up and do a bit more harassment, but then we kind of saw him turtle up a little bit, didn't we? And that gave BlinG the breathing room he needed to get up to this kind of composition.
We do see that the Warp Prism does get sniped by those Void Rays, end up sniping one of those, the 3rd base. It was almost mined out, but there's still plenty of gas there, so he's going to have to retake that base. This gas is so important in the Zerg army. 191 supply to 160. Income tab 59 or 58 to 69 in favor of BlinG. BlinG is just such a great position. I love the fact that he's mixing in one Oracle. Use the Revelation spell to keep track of where the Broodlords are, where the army are. They move so slow that you can never get caught out of position with that. Such a smart move from BlinG.
That's a really good point, actually. Having that one Oracle Revelation definitely underused at the moment, and BlinG being incredibly intelligent here and just wanting to keep tabs on exactly where that army is. The Infestors are coming in, trying to line a couple of good fights. Gets a fungal off on all of the High Templars, actually, and that could have been an absolutely huge win. A couple of them might even go down to the Broodlings right now, but managing to save about half of them. Still a decent amount of energy left. And it looks like sLivko's going to try and force the engagement here. Good fungals going off like on the Stalkers, but the main damage dealer is going to be the Tempest. They're going to be the Void Rays in the background. They're getting fungled as well. Is sLivko going to be able to power through here? He's down to 144 supply. BlinG at 167. Great storms from our Protoss player, and the Broodlords have to turn around.
Unfortunately there, sLivko missed micros and festers and lost more than half of them. That gas, I mean, look at his bank. He cannot afford to be losing anything right now, especially something as costly as an Infestor. Queen's getting blinked on top of. Few Stalkers going to fall for that to prevent some transfusion. Supply 159 to 138. Again, upgrades still in favor of BlinG, and you know, sLivko is getting these great attacks, but he just missed micros slightly here and there and loses a good portion of his army.
And I think you bring up a really good point there, Zoya, about the bank as well. A lot of players have said conventional wisdom playing against this sort of really difficult to deal with, almost Skytoss-centric late-game composition is to make sure, as soon as you see it coming, Protoss are going to turtle it up on 3 base. You want to try and absolutely turtle it up, take as many bases as possible, and sLivko hasn't been able to do that. He's getting his bases constantly picked up. We just saw another base go down here at his 3rd location, and he's never really been up and mining at an additional base compared to BlinG, and that's hurt him quite a lot. Because if he loses this army, like you said, it all comes back to the bank. He doesn't have that bank to rely on to tech switch, to reintroduce different units into his army, or even just to rebuild. It's not there for sLivko right now. He has to basically win with this army.
The problem with what sLivko's position right now is, okay, BlinG lacked off. It looked like BlinG was going to force him into a corner there, and there would be no way out for sLivko to get out, but he's going to go back home. He lost his 3rd base.
And the main base might have
destroying the main. So much
huge
zealous
drop.
work in.
Yeah, exactly, and the Hive is in danger of going down as well. He's not actually microing those at the moment. I'd like to see the Greatest Fire in the Hive try and get taken down here. Instead, he's focusing on the Extractors and a Spore Crawler right now. But really, any damage at the moment is just biting into sLivko. He's moving back with all of his Infestors to try and deal with this right now, and he will be able to clean it up. The Greatest Fire will not go down, but the fact that he can't move out across the map with his army right now when he's 40 supply down, that's really the story here.
Take a look at the income tab. You can just see how both these players are mining on what little they can. You know, BlinG, he's mining off of 1 base, his 4th over here. He's got a lot of idle probes. The 5th base needs to be retaken right now. And this 1 mining base that's under siege for sLivko is all he's got left. Really can't do anything about this either. If we look at the units tab, how many Corruptors does he have on the field? Only 12. You know, with good control and good storms, the Corruptors really can't take on these Tempests head on.
Yeah, this is such a frustrating situation to be in for sLivko, because he knows what he wants to be able to do. He knows what kind of composition he's thinking about getting up to, but he just doesn't have the money to make that happen. Still under 200 gas at the moment. He's trying to make as many Infestors as he can. And the reasoning behind this, guys, is because in absence of being able to make your absolute ideal army composition against what BlinG has to offer right now, sLivko is almost banking. Oh, another drop picking up the spawning for you. He's banking on trying to get a series of very, very good fungal growths off on a very bunched up army. That's one of the few things right now that can really turn this game around for him. He's hoping he can make that happen.
Small update for everyone watching the stream here, not following the bracket. Tefel has successfully defeated Hasuov, eliminating him from the qualifier. Going to move on to round of 8, but we do have a big engagement here. Using the Revelation on all the Infestors. Doesn't need an Observer sitting over there. Good fungal growth, though. A lot of the Archons and Colossus, much of core going to fall. Colossus going to fall as well. Archon doing what it can. Tempest in the back. So many of them just slowly whittling down this army. There's still plenty of Infestors. Storms going down on the Corruptors, trying to clean them up. sLivko slowly pushing back BlinG. Another Revelation going down on all of this army. Allows the Tempest to keep shooting from such a far distance. Fungal growth, though, goes on all of the Tempests. We need some feedbacks on these Infestors. Some Storms going down to soften these units up. Supply dropping for sLivko down to 93 supply versus the 155. BlinG looking like he's on the verge of taking this game.
Oh, and a couple of the Tempests going down there, but not enough. The Stalker's coming in to save the day at the end. There's some great storms going off. And there we go. GG from sLivko. And in what was an epic 35-minute game, Dignitas BlinG takes game